Alright, so I'm going to show you how I found the harmony parts for this song. Now, keep in mind that there isn't really a right or wrong way to sing harmony. It really just comes down to using your ear and picking what sounds best to you, or what gets you the effect that you're trying to achieve. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed when I'm explaining something. If I say something like, I moved this note because it was clashing with the fifth of the chord played underneath of it, that's not really what I'm thinking about when I find harmony parts. Really, I'm just using my ear, and if I hear a note that kind of sticks out, I just move it somewhere where it fits a little bit better. It's really that simple. But I'm explaining this so that you understand why it works. So let's go ahead and start with the melody. Let's have a listen here. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with that first note of the melody, and you just go either up 2 notes in scale or down 2 notes in scale to find a harmony part. So if we want to find the high harmony, we'll go up 2 notes. So starting on this first note, so that's our harmony note right there. Let's have a listen. Yep. All right, so both parts together. So you can actually visually see here that wherever the melody is moving, the harmony is just following it. And that's really all there is to it. And then as you listen through the song, you might find certain areas where it clashes with the music underneath of it. So let's see if we can find an area. So like right there. It doesn't sound too bad, but you can hear there's something a little awkward happening right there. What's going on is our harmony is singing this E, but the chord played underneath of it has an F in it, and so E and F are right next to each other and they're kind of clashing. So if we just move this up a step, now it should fit a lot better with the music underneath of it. You can hear it happening again there. Now it actually sounds pretty good right there. But for the sake of this example, we'll just go ahead and move that up as well. So that's a section where, like, you might use your ear to decide, oh, I like the E, so I'm going to stick with that. Or, no, I want it to be a bit more subtle, I'll go ahead and move it up. Pretty much whenever you run into a clash on the high harmony, you just move it up a note. You take that note and move it up a step. So now let's do the same thing with the low harmony. You pretty much just do the opposite. You start with the first note, but instead of going up, you go down 2 notes in scale. So, that should be the note. Yep. All right, so let's have a listen. So it sounds fine, and then again, you might look for problem areas. Let's listen to this next section. So that was almost good, but there's something a little weird happening at the end here. This note right here is kind of sticking out. What's happening there is the chord being played during this section is a D minor, the fifth of a D is an A, and our harmony is singing a B flat, which is right next to A. So those 2 notes are clashing. So to fix a low harmony part that's clashing, you just take it and move it down a step. So that note will now blend in a lot better with the chord played underneath of it. And then for the most part, the rest of it sounds pretty good. So again, to clarify, if you have a high harmony part that's clashing, you just move it up a note. If you have a low harmony part that's clashing, you just move it down a note. Now, if we have both parts singing together at the same time, this brings in a new element. We now have chords that are built with our parts. So now we have to listen to how these chords are blending in with the music and with each other. So let's go ahead and listen to this first section. So that's not too bad, but an interesting thing is happening here. The melody is actually singing the fifth of the chord being played underneath of it, and then it's dropping down a half step, which sort of creates some tension. So the melody is intentionally creating some tension, and that pun was not intentional, but having the harmony follow that exactly, it just kind of takes away from it. We need some kind of context. We need something consistent to keep this movement more effective, and it's not just like a bunch of random notes. It's hard to really identify what the melody even is because everything's moving together. So we're going to take the low harmony, and we're just going to move it down a step. usually, if there's something weird going on with the chords, I'll usually approach the low harmony first to see if I can fix that. So let's have a listen to how this sounds. Yeah, so you hear how the melody kind of sticks out a little bit more. It's not just kind of random chords. Now you can really hear the melody intentionally. So we'll do the same thing for the second part. However, the chord is changing here, so I'm going to leave this note alone because it helps transition into the next section. Have a listen. So hopefully that makes sense. You can even see these are both the same chord, so that's why that transitions nicely. I'm trying to explain that as best I can, but again, when I was figuring this out, I was pretty much just using my ear and doing what sounded good to me. Let's listen to this next section and see if there are any problem areas. Alright, so this whole dissension here, something weird is kind of going on. So what's happening is we're creating a diminished chord right here. And it's not necessarily wrong to sing a diminished chord, but most of the time it's going to sound off, so we need to move either the high or the low harmony. Now in this case, I'm going to move the high harmony, so let's move that up a step. There we go. So that should fit a lot better. Alright, so it does fit. However, our melody is descending here. So we want to complement that, and by making this correction, we now have this note being sang twice, so it kind of breaks that illusion a little bit. So we're going to take this first note, and we're going to move that one up as well. There we go. So now it should bring back that feeling of movement. Yeah, so you kind of get that descending effect again with the melody and everything. All right, let's listen to this last section here and see if we can find any problems. It was mostly good, but again, the melody is starting off the same way it did at the beginning, so let's go ahead and make the same correction that we did last time by bringing this note down. You can see there's a variation at the end here. Instead of coming back up, everything's going down, and the harmony seems to be working fine there, so we'll leave it alone. And then there's something a little awkward on this ascension here. Let's have a listen. Yeah, this note is again clashing with the fifth. This is an A, and the chord played underneath of it is a C. The fifth of a C is a G, so that G and that A, they're kind of clashing with each other. So we're going to move this down, which happens to be a G, so that'll fit a lot better. Yeah, and there you go. So now if we listen through, everything should move nicely together, everything should fit a lot better with the music. Yeah, and that's how you sing harmony with this calling. So I hope that helped. If you'd like to practice with this song, I'm actually going to include a link in the description of this video where you can download the backing track and all the different harmony parts so that you can practice along with them and you can isolate them and you can even rearrange them and mess around with them yourself. So feel free to download that. Thanks for watching. Until next time.